Welcome and good morning to everyone on this conference about sustainable and circular reuse of spaces and buildings in the framework of the best design of the year 2 of ArcInFAT. Thank you to ArcInFAT to organize, to let us to explain what is this about circular and reuse of space and buildings. Thank you very much. We are INCASOL. INCASOL is the organizer of this meeting today. We will have 1 hour, just 1 hour to explain some examples. INCASOL have been involved in 2 different partnerships of the urban agenda for the UE. One called Sustainable Use of Land and Nature-Based Solutions, coordinated by the Ministry of Development Funds and Regional Policy of Poland. We have some representatives of the ministry today here. Thank you very much. This partnership is also coordinated by the City of Bologna. And we are also in the other partnership coordinated by the municipality of Prato called Circular Economy Partnership. Together, both of the partnerships, we have decided to elaborate a handbook called Sustainable and Circular Reuse of Space and Buildings with the help of EUTROPIAN experts who are also today with us. We want to explain you what is this, what this handbook is about, and to show some examples. To show these examples, we have today some people who help us, people from the Ministry of Poland, people from the City of Prato, but also people from the municipality of Miedźno in Poland, ourselves from INCASOL, and also some experts from EUTROPIAN. Let me introduce the people who will have with us help to explain this handbook. From the government of Poland, Mr. Kamil Wider, head of unit of self-government assistance unit of the Department of Assistance Programs on the Ministry of Development Funds and Regional Policy. As I said, this ministry has been the coordinator of our partnership, Sustainable Use of Land and Nature-Based Solutions in the urban agenda. From the city of Miedźno, Poland, Mr. Piotr Derejczyk, the mayor of Miedźno. Thank you to be here, Mr. Derejczyk. Municipality since he has mayor since 2014. Earlier 4 years, between 2007 and 2014, he was a deputy mayor there, responsible for the administration. Since 2018, he's a member of the Convention Presidium of Silesian Mayors. After him, we have 2 members from the company EUTROPIAN Research and Action. They have been the experts that help us in developing the handbook. First of all, Mrs. Daniela Patti is managing director of EUTROPIAN. She regularly works with the URBACT, Urban Innovative Actions, the International Urban Cooperation and Urban Agenda on Urban Poverty Program. But also Mr. Leventi Poliak, is the managing director of EUTROPIAN. He has worked on urban regeneration programs for the New York, Paris, Rome, Vienna, and Budapest municipality. And he has been also working as expert in URBACT networks and urban innovative action projects. Finally, from the city of Prato, it will be intervened Mr. Valerio Barberis, Deputy Mayor of Urban Planning, Environment and Circular Economy. The city of Prato, as I said, has been our partner in developing the handbook, as they are one of the action leaders of the Circular Economy Partnership. Finally, I want to introduce myself. I'm the director of INCASOL, and to show the examples of Catalonia region, it will help me Pere Picorelli, which is also in the floor. He's coordinator of these projects. He will help me to explain these cases in Catalonia. We will have 10 minutes for each speaker. I will control a little bit the time. We have 1 hour. I think it's a good time for this kind of video conference. If not, it takes too long and maybe a little bit heavy. And we will start with Mr. Kamil Wider from the examples of Poland. Mr. Reader, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Hello. First of all, thank you for an opportunity to be here and to say a few words about urban regeneration, what we call the revitalization in Poland. It's very important to say that it's a crucial thing when we are talking about reusing the space and buildings, as it's our main subject today. I'm sure that Mr. Derejczyk from Miedźno will say something more from the perspective of the city. But what I want to do right now, right here, I want to show the whole system which we built for revitalizing cities in Poland. The base for this process for the whole revitalization in Poland is the Act of Revitalization, which was held in 2015. As it's mostly financed from the European funds, we also had some guidelines for revitalization for 2014 and 2020. As we all know, the revitalization is not a point thing, it's a process. From that way, we stand in this opinion also in our act, when we say that it's a process of leading degraded areas out of the crisis by integrated actions aimed on the local community, space and economy concentrated upon specific area, and carries out by relevant stakeholders and the basis of a revitalization program. The revitalization program is the base for things which happen in each city. But how I said, the revitalization and the package for revitalization is a strategic program in the strategy for responsible development in Poland. We have the base, how I mentioned, the guidelines, the act of revitalization, but also we got some actions which were pointed out to the cities, which were able to help them to revitalize the cities, the areas in the cities. What we made, it's the model urban revitalization. It was the contest addressed to the municipalities. We also had the grants for municipalities, which was given to the cities by the marshals, and that is how Miedźno got the opportunity to finance their program. We also had the pilot projects for revitalization. We also have the national knowledge center about revitalization. It's the hub when we put every information about revitalization. And the new thing which we are having right now, it's the regions of revitalization, regional support held by in each voivodeship by the marshals. By this period of time, from 2015, nearly 60% of Polish municipalities carried out a program of revitalization. It's a really big bunch of municipalities which have this kind of program, and moreover, it's to say that it's not the main task of each community to make the program of for revitalization. But as it was said, it's nearly 60% of the municipalities, 16% of inhabitants live in the areas covered by the programs. The revitalization needs, it's much bigger that we were able to to give. It's about 20 billion euro in every program, but we already been able to invest more than 2 billion euro from the cohesion policy of last period. How I mentioned, the major point of our strategic program is the model urban revitalization. It was the contest which was addressed to the municipalities with the city status. It is all about developing models for revitalization activities. The idea was very simple. Solutions are developed to serve as a model for others. It's very important that we were giving the funds to make something what would be useful for more than only municipalities taking part in the contest. We had 20 cities in the model urban revitalization, 3 cities in the pilot projects. But it's important that those models which they made are really usable, and they are used by others. How you can see, this whole program is more than 10,000 hours of consultancy, 14 events, 3 study visits, publications, the revitalization programs which were the base, of course, but it's mostly more over than 100 models and best practices which we can share right now, which I will show at the end of my presentation. In that process, we also held more than 50 projects, documentations, under which municipalities were able to make the revitalization itself. Before I go further, it's important to say that we also have a wider scope of the cities which we were able to help in this process. How I said, like Miedźno, those cities were able to get the funds to prepare the program for revitalization. The funds which were given in the contests given by the on the voivodeship level by the marshals. How it was said, we had about 1,500 municipalities which made the programs under this money. But going to the best practices, the whole process supposed to end with the new area which will be open for people, open for the local community, giving the opportunity of new development for the city itself or the area which we are talking about. One of the good practices is Dąbrowa Górnicza, which were making the project Factory Full of Life, Fabryka Pełna Życia in Polish. It was the project based on the post-industrial area, which now it's happening. Is the new city center, the new space when we can make really wide scope of activities for people, for business, and it's a really good example. But not only these huge projects, we also had the activities like in EUK, where we carried out the program under the slogan "People Act to Create Places." It was based also on a really smaller activities based in the small areas, held by the local activists, which, like on this example, we were, for example, building some places to play for kids because there was a lack of those, and that's how we were building, rebuilding the community in there. The next example.
You have 2 minutes left. Sorry.
Okay, I will control it. Next example, it's Żyrardów. The whole Żyrardów is the post-industrial city near Warsaw, which also were holding the huge renovation projects. But in those renovated areas, needed also active their citizens. We can see it's the example of projects which were held there. It's the model backyard, the place when the whole community can jointly see each other, can act in their local community, make some actions, make some activities for kids, for every group in there. More projects, more cities. Again, it's Słupsk. It's like it was the project which was focused more on a social level of elder people. Even as you can see here about the smart bands when monitoring those people who are in a special needs. So as you can see, those projects are not only based on rebuilding the spaces, the places, the buildings. Of course, it's one of the things that should be in the revitalization process. But what's very important, it won't play without other activities. Because it's really short time, I really encourage you to visit our website, of the National Center of Knowledge of Revitalization. You can find all those examples there. We also have a bunch of videos showing each project, and also a bunch of films which are on each specific area where the model urban revitalization and pilot projects were held. These are short films. If somebody is interested, you can look for it there. I will finish here because all the information also about the regions of revitalization you will find on our website. If there will be any questions later, I will be here. Now, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kamil, Mr. Wider. Of course, revitalization and reuse is not only for the spaces and the buildings, it's also for the society. Then thank you very much. Finally, we have Mr. Valerio Barberis here. Good morning, Valerio. How are you?
Good morning to everybody. Fine, thanks. And you? I hope.
Just on time, just on time. Perfect. Prato, as I said, it's our partner in the circular and partnership. We collaborate together with the handbook that I explained you. And as Poland, they have a very good examples about revitalization and reuse of spaces and buildings. Valerio, what do you want? We shot the video first, or you want to talk?
At the end.
We shot the video first. Then Adria, you can put the video, please. Adria, you are listening to me?
The concept of circular economy provides extraordinary opportunity to rethink our cities. A solution is to develop innovative models for urban regeneration of spaces and buildings by reducing new land use. This virtuous method generates jobs, new business models, and new cultural and social opportunities.
The idea of creating an urban reuse agency is inspired by work carried out by the municipality of Prato in partnership with the European Urban Agenda on Circular Economy. The concept is that circular reuse, transposed on space and buildings, open up scenarios and regeneration challenges that stimulate collaboration amongst the public administration, businesses, tertiary sector and citizens.
Why Prato?
Prato is a city in constant evolution, with almost 200,000 inhabitants, making it the second largest city in Tuscany and the third largest in central Italy by number of residents. A textile district with 7,500 companies producing about 3% of the European textile industry. An ICT sector with over 700 companies and young startups. A tradition of circular economy of wool and the reuse of industrial wastewater, but also culture, contemporary art and more.
Prato is one of the 5G Italian pilot cities, selected to experiment with new innovative services that will have a positive impact on the lives of citizens and businesses. This will kickstart the city's digital transformation, which will mark a real turning point, especially in reference to our leading manufacturing sector, textile and clothing. The city is experimenting with a new approach of urban reuse management that paves the way for the transformation of our cities into circular cities.
To achieve this goal, the focus idea is to promote a new model of governance of the city through the creation of a management subject able to map disused buildings, draw up a coefficient of reusability and make the match between the various subjects, able to transform these spaces into new studios, startups, lodging, laboratories, creative residences, etc., giving new life to new creative and innovative hubs. We will apply this model to a specific area of Prato. Macrolotto Zero is a complex area of 65 hectares that in the 60s and 70s represented the model factory city where productive activities and housing coexisted. Today the district hosts, together with Italian citizens, one of the largest Chinese community in Europe. The administration's vision is to transform the Macrolotto Zero in the creative district of the Prato, Florence, Pistoia metropolitan area, promoting the reuse of existing buildings.
The Urban Reuse Agency is transferable and a replicable model in every urban context. Disused and underused space in all European cities can become opportunities for new jobs, the promotion of collaborative economy, social innovation and startups.
Okay, thank you very much. We saw the video, very interesting. Valerio, you will have the floor.
Okay, so sorry, but I didn't see the video. So
But you know the video.
yes, I know that. So, first of all, thank you for this invitation. I'm sorry, but I have a rush meeting with the mayor at the end. Somehow it happens, and it happens very often, generally. So, I'm very happy to be here to share with you the experiences of what we are doing together with the work of two different partnerships between the work of the urban agenda on the EU. The city of Prato was part of the partnership on circular economy, and Catalonia was in charge for the participation of Spain in the partnership on nature-based solutions and sustainable land use. So I think that this is already somehow a political issue at European level, that two different group partnerships have been working together for the same action, and it gives the sense of importance of what we have done. Putting together the two different aspects that are going, in my opinion, to be very relevant for the future of the urban areas in Europe. That is to say that sustainable land use and how we use sustainable land use is part of a bigger strategy where we have, first of all, to ask ourselves, how can we use better our cities? How can we use better the existing spaces and buildings that are unused or underused? And how can we share experiences where these unused or underused spaces or buildings are part of the bigger vision of cities and are part of the transition to a more sustainable use of the city and more inclusive and social inclusive use of the city, and where the existing unused building and spaces becomes part of a bigger strategy that they are already considered as something that already exists and that can be very powerful in terms of how can I activate the citizens from a social point of view, from an economical point of view, how can I activate entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs in reusing these spaces. And so we are dealing with creativity at urban level, and we are dealing at the same time with social issues and environmental issues. Well, starting from this experience, we are trying in the city of Prato to put together different policies. And so, for instance, urban planning, environmental planning, sanitary planning, consider them as part of and consider them together in the circular and in the smart city program of the city, where the IoT and the 5G technology can enable new strategies on how to reuse the city. So what is important is that we are now trying to put together and to put together all these different aspects in a program of the city, which is called the Prato Circular City, where the city is working with we can say its three pillars. So the municipality of the city, the stakeholders of the city, and the university and research center of the city, working together for the transition, for the circular transition of the city, for the acceleration of the circular transition of the city. And so considering together the urban policies for urban planning, for industrial planning, because the city of Prato hosts one of the biggest textile districts of Europe, and considering them in a holistic vision, where the city is going to be considered as a circular metabolism and with an ecological approach, all the things are organically considered together. From this point of view, it's very important in our experience to have action plans and to have working groups that, like we did with the document and putting together the two partnerships, considers several aspects at the same time. And so, let's say, destroying the borders between the different, what is considered as a specialized knowledge. So urban matters are part of environmental matters, but become also part of economical matters and becomes also part of the way the city is acting for the social inclusion strategies and so on. So at the end, the bigger vision of the city is developed in what we consider our vision documents. We have done two different urban agenda for the city of Prato, one that has been developed in 2015, and this has been the guide document for all the decisions, for all the urban policies of the city up to now. Now, after the crisis, the sanitary crisis of COVID-19, but also answering to the new tasks that we are facing with the Green Deal and with the Next Generation EU document, we have approved a new document, which is called Prato Urban Agenda 2050, that gives the vision to the city to 2050. And where, of course, the circular transition, the environmental transition, the economical transition, the social transition are all considered together in a document that tries to link all the different aspects and tries to work together with all the stakeholders of the city working together with the same vision. Our experience of sharing knowledge and experiences with the partnership on sustainable land use and nature-based solutions has been very important also in order to create experience of sharing knowledge and to be part of a network. So from one side, the city is working within the knowledge that the city in itself has, but on the other, at the same time, the city is trying always to connect to other experiences and to be part of European and national network in order to be always aware of the role of the city, but also knowing what is happening in other European cities. I finished just saying that it's a very tough period, of course, of the COVID-19 experience that we all have experienced. But at the same time, it's a period full of perspectives for the future, because many aspects that we have been talked together in the last years have now been put in at the first point of the political agenda of at European level and at member states, and this is of course very important. And there's a bigger awareness in the citizens of what should be done. And what is relevant, in my opinion, is that at the European level, it's growing and growing the awareness of the role of cities in being and the role and the importance of the cities in being the one of the main aspects for the tasks that we are facing. Things happen in places, and in Europe, these places are basically urban areas. So we have to deal with it. We have to find new paradigms, new urban paradigms. That consider cities as a global metabolism with a circular approach where nature should be put in the center of any choice, and considering the reuse of buildings as part of this bigger strategy, where using better the city is part of a bigger strategy where the city at the same time should put nature at the center, and considering nature as part of a bigger strategy of health prevention and human well-being, and at the end of the happiness of citizens. So really, thank you for this invitation. I'm sorry for that, but really, I'm always very happy to be with you in these experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valerio. Thank you very much. I'm sure that the mostly part of our audience, the audience of ARFAT, there are architects, designers, that will be agree with you that the importance of the role of the cities in the next 10 years. Thank you very much, Valerio. Now it's the turn of Catalonia, and it's a little bit strange that the moderator make the speaker at the same time that I asked for Pere Picorelli that helped me to explain the examples of Catalonia, because if not, I do two things and I don't like it at all. But just let me explain a little bit what is INCASOL. Pere, I don't know if you want. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Well, the Catalan Land Institute, INCASOL, that we lead it, it's a public company attached to the Vice Presidency, Digital Policies and Territory Ministry. Its goal is to develop a public policy set in place by the government of Catalonia, basically, in order to ensure land is used in the public best interest, and to prevent also speculative practices. Also, we are enjoined to make the right to dignified adequate housing a reality. And the main functions that INCASOL has carried out since its creation in 1918, we are quite old, 14 years ago, are developing land for residential, industrial, also tertiary uses, but also building social and affordable housing, urban renewal, and restoration of historical heritage. It's things that we do also. INCASOL works closely with the local administration, and it's involved also in consortiums with town councils from all over Catalonia that allowed to add up different necessary synergies for speeding up the town planning processes. This is all we do. In order to the matter we are talking today, INCASOL has interviewed in Consolidate City by different programs, depending on the urban regeneration process needed for the intervention. All that programs mean long-term projects with multiple stakeholders, as you know perfectly. First of all, and since 1998, the neighborhood remodeling program that Pere will explain you later. And in 2004, the government of Catalonia adopted the law called Catalan Law of Districts also. It was the first legal framework approved in Spain, especially aimed to improvement of neighborhoods with social problems, with the intention of solving the causes that affected the process of social spatial segregation. And due to this law, INCASOL started the neighborhood regeneration program. Then we will talk about these two programs, remodeling program and regeneration program. And I will pass the floor to Pere. He's a true expert about these things and these programs. Pere, please, you can explain a little bit more about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Albert. You can hear me, I guess. Yeah, I will do a brisk introduction to both programs and talk a little about what we have been doing since the Great Depression that we experienced in the 2010s. And I'll go through these projects and their situation, the current situation. So let's start with the neighborhood remodeling program. You can see now, all right. It actually started before 98 in 1990, and it's been, as all programs I'll be talking, they are still being implemented today. So far, we intervened in 19 neighborhoods, and we have remodeled, meaning we demolished and reconstructed in the same district, in the same actual area, 8,600 units with an investment over 580 million euro. This program that started this 30 years ago mainly focuses on intervening in social housing districts constructed in the 50s, 60s, and sometimes 70s, in replacing housing that had structural pathology or urban morphology issues that condemned these districts in the sense that they were not they were beyond repair, so they had to be demolished because of these structural pathologies. So the origin of the intervention is the decision, municipal and regional government decision, that these districts had to be reconstructed. They were public from the origin, so they were constructed by public sector during Franco regime, and the public sector, local and regional, decided through the support of the Spanish central government, through investment of the Spanish central government, strategy to intervene in different districts. These 19 districts that INCASOL took part in remodelation are not all the districts where intervened. There are more districts that were rehabilitated. Those are the ones that couldn't be rehabilitated, these 19. Well, then what are we talking about? We're talking about intervening in districts where people live, and they're consolidated areas where people live. These areas that had these problems, structural problems, and also social problems, were attracted to the structural and infrastructure problems, in the sense that areas where housing had a lower value, it tended to concentrate lower value prices in areas where structural problems were visible and they were known, and these concentrated people with lower resources, lower cultural and social capital to develop their projects of life. So they tended to concentrate also social problems linked to lower income residences, residents. So the fact is that these areas at the same time had both structural and infrastructure problems concentrated with social problems. So the decision to intervene had another dimension, the dimension of dealing with areas where social problems were concentrated, and the process of reconstruction had to not just decide which was the actual program to transform from the left side, which is the original structure, to the new district. That's the same area. It's exactly the same area. I'm showing to you now. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but it is this triangle area next to the motorway. This is Ronda Dal. This is Barcelona inner motorway. So we're in the city center in a sense. And so how we go from one side to the other, from the original structure that has to be demolished because it's a social constructed slum, in the sense that it was constructed by public sector, but it operates as a slum in 1990s, at the early 1990s. At the same time the Olympics were being held in Barcelona, this area was inhabitable, but it's still more than 400 families lived in this area. So how we move from one side to the other, it's a process. It's a very slow, it's a piecemeal process that we have to go housing it by housing, and we did that for probably 14 years in this case. So we reconstructed the district, and the key elements to this structure is the commitment of public sector to relocation in the same district, the creation of an incentive, financial incentive to all residents to exchange all housing, small 39 square meters housing units for new housing units, some 65, 70 square meter units at current standards, at a low price, and with a heavily subsidized scheme. And then the third structural element is the dialogue. It's social, and the construction of through participation of district representatives, local neighbors representatives, through the process of implementation of these programs. This is an example. It's Vivendas del Gobernador, as I said, is in Barcelona. And this is today is Vivendas del Gobernador. It's already reconstructed completely. We finished this by 2004. We did the last demolition in the area, and we constructed 490 units in the district. Now we'll move to the second program, which is the neighborhood regeneration program. It has a framework. INCASOL intervention in the previous case, it's based on an agreement of local administration with regional administration that make INCASOL developer of the whole process. In these projects now, we move to another approach. It's an integral approach. It's urban regeneration based, area based. So we define a larger area of intervention, and we intervene in another approach, in an integral approach based on success of European programs such as Urban in the 1990s. And Catalan government implemented a new policy that created a project-based approach where local authorities proposed areas of intervention, and that regional government financed those projects at 50% with local authorities, mobilizing these amounts that you can see in this number of projects, more than 1,300 300 million euros, and 140 projects developed from 2004 to 2019, implemented already. And in this framework is where INCASOL intervenes. It has intervened in 12 projects with affecting 1,300 properties and investing 136 million euros. INCASOL directly. This doesn't add to the total investment of the program. INCASOL, what does in these projects, it's implement complementary actions. And let me explain a little how these projects work, and then we'll see how INCASOL intervenes. These projects are, as I said, areas where social stress, regression in all dimensions, environmental, economic, social, take place. These areas have to propose a project, and regional government and local authority together finance those projects. Those projects are locally managed, and they have to intervene in several areas of action. So urban transformation, meaning public space, the intervention of of improving environmental assets in the district, in this area of interventions, rehabilitation of buildings, suppression of architectural barriers. As I said, it's explained here. First time gender equity in access of services and public space, it's object of public policy in Catalonia. This is the law in 2004. It's quite innovative at the time, and also social development programs. These interventions foster collaboration in terms of vertical, from regional to local government, and also at an horizontal approach at local level. So all local sides of government have to cooperate to implement these projects, and also at regional level, different departments of the Catalan government have to cooperate in order to implement this policy. So that's
1 minute left.
1 minute left. Sorry, I'm way too back. So these projects are intervening in this way, and as I said, INCASOL takes part of the project doing one of the actions. Which action? The most relevant in this case that I'm showing you, this is Manlleu, which is a small city in Catalonia, and where we remodeled, we demolished and relocated residents of this huge building of 11 stories. We took it down. It took us almost 14 years. We built housing to relocate the residents, and we demolished it. Actually, these pictures are from July, the last ones, the ones on the right-hand side. And then we moved to what happened afterwards. These projects are still living, these two programs. And currently what we're doing is we're implementing from the knowledge we capitalized on this time, of these 30 years of intervention in cities. What we are able is to adapt to changing environments. And that's what we did in Terrassa, Can Anglada. This is metropolitan Barcelona, in a sense. Here we remodeled the inner blocks. You can see marked here in orange, the inner blocks of this social housing district in the 1960s. We remodeled in a innovative way. We approach it from using what housing stock we had already. We didn't construct to do this remodeling. We used housing that was vacant because of the crisis, of the real estate crisis in Spain, where we have a lot of vacancies. What we did is we agreed with with the local authority to relocate in social housing that was already constructed, it was vacant. We use it to relocate. In this time, we didn't relocate exactly in the same area. We relocated actually in a better district, in a sense, to all those residents who committed to that relocation. And that's about it. So we're adapting to change in a sense. And we are implementing this policy in new projects that add up to the existing programs that still are going on, both of the remodeling and also in the regeneration bound district programs. And that's about it. Albert, I think I give the floor to you back so you can wrap up.
Thank you, Pere. We are a little bit late. We will go through the city of Miedźno because we are 10-15 minutes late. Thank you very much. Mayor Derejczyk, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank you for the opportunity for sharing our experiences in regenerating the public spaces with our Miedźno communal experiences here. This subject is very important for every city and every local government agenda. The city life is coping there, so I think it's important issue which we should involve everybody in it. I believe our story is worth sharing. It's a little bit different story than said previously during this conference. It's like a counterpoint, but I believe it brings additional value here, and I hope you will enjoy our story, which I would like to say. Let me switch my presentation. I've forgotten that, sorry. I believe it is visible now. Who we are. Miedźno is a small Polish municipality. We are in the southern part of Poland, in Silesia region, but just in the north of the region, just close to the border of Łódzkie region. So we have quite different history and quite different environment than Dąbrowa Górnicza, which was mentioned in the ministry presentation. But we've got also something to say about regeneration of our territory. Miedźno is a municipality, has 113 square kilometers of territory, and here lives about 7.6 thousand people here. Not exactly live, they are registered here because we estimate that approximately 1,000 of them lives abroad or in different parts of Poland. We are rural municipality. The main factor of our economy is agriculture, but not in the scale of the people involved in that. Only few of us are working in farming, in fact. The increasing economical issue for us is tourism. It is mostly connected with forests and water. At least 40% of our territory is foresting. And there are two nice rivers which are available for canoe, and we've got quite large reservoir of 38 hectares, which is suitable for sailing. We are also the destination for more qualified tourism, which is relates to history and militaria. This is because the first major panzer battle of the Second World War II was on our territory. But coming back to the story to the topic of my presentation, I would like to share you about what we did in Borowa. This is one of our villages, and what we did with the building and schoolyard of former school. Why we do this? It is because of the cruelty of demography. The number of our people is decreasing since the beginning of 80s. And because of that, my predecessors in the office has decided to reduce the number of schools in our municipality from 7 to 3. It was in the
Mayor, excuse me, you are passing the slides because we don't see one. Okay, perfect. Now, okay,
perfect. You can see.
Sorry. Thank you.
This is this. Okay, sorry. The time is passing. So, one of the school is located in Borowa, as I said. You can see on the picture now how it looks a few years ago when the building was still existing. It was destroyed by the flood of the century in 1997. And was empty for more than 15 years. It wasn't possible to renovate it. In fact, it was totally moldy. So we have decided to demolish it and to make a village park in this area. You can now see the small. I think it will start in a second. A small presentation, flash presentation, how we designed it. It is showing what we wanted to achieve in this area. We wanted to be this place as good as for many people as it's only possible. For seniors to rest, for young parents to play with children, to active people to get fit on the outdoor gym. And we started to do this in 2017. The strong asset of the place is localization. It is in the bend of the river, Biała Oksza. So it's possible to get as much from the environment and from trees, from river, as it's only possible here. We started doing this, as I said, in 2017. And share the whole process in few phases. The first was demolish the building, demolish the fence, and leveling the land and planting new trees as well. The second thing was reestablishing the football field and putting the lighting, the special lighting for this football play. We put some gazebos to this land, the playground for children, the outdoor gym as well. And some special area for grills, for barbecues. And this was the first 3 phases of the process. The last one, which is about the second bank of the river, will be finished in this autumn. The whole process involved the participation of the residents of the village, and they participated in it not only in consultations but also did some work in the space in the park by themselves, and therefore they consider this park as something very personal, something very precious for them, and they care about it. After the renovation, park became a center of activity of the residents. In the summer, children are playing there every day, but we did some more activities, some events which involve whole community, like harvest festival, like family picnics. And just before the pandemic, in 2019, we start organizing there a large music festival, Midsummer Week, which is hold on because of the situation now. And just after we will over the pandemic, I think we will relaunch it as well. The total cost of whole works and phases which we did here and we are doing now will close in 2,000 euros. Borowa Park is not a big issue, I think, according to the job which were showed during this conversation, but this is very important for us and we are very proud of it. So it was, the turning point of our activities in whole spectrum activities which we did in revitalization now. I think my time is finished, so I will finish now. If there would be any question, I would like to answer to them. I hope you enjoyed the story.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. These little examples are also very important for us because we have examples from all the scales, from the bigger to the little, and this is very important for everybody, also for your community. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Okay, we will go through the people from EUTROPIAN.
Hello, everybody.
Mrs. Derejczyk, you can quit the presentation, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm stopping now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Patti, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. So very nice to see some friendly faces that we already know, and very nice to meet also those who we haven't met, unfortunately in digital yet again, but we hope the situation in all your cities will be improving soon. So we hope to be able to meet in person. So myself and Daniela Patti and my colleague Levente Poliak, we are very happy to have contributed to the report from the perspective especially of community engagement in urban regeneration processes, so very much connected to what the speakers before me have told us. And we will be especially telling you about how municipalities can engage with local citizens in circular reuse of properties, especially when looking into public properties themselves. So I know that there's so much to say, but also so much also to engage also with the others. We will try to keep within the time, but I'm sure Mr. Chivit will also make sure to make sure that we don't go over our time. And we have some slides to try and give you a little bit of some images about what we're talking about. And if technology is on my side, I will try to share them with you just now. Let's see. So can I get confirmation? Do you see the slides?
Yes, we see.
Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. Very good. So what we're talking about is, as we said, some urban regeneration examples from around Europe. Ourselves, we are an organization, EUTROPIAN, which is based between Rome, Budapest, and Vienna, and we deal with collaborative urban regeneration processes, which means we work together with local communities and public administrations in developing processes together. So what we will be telling you about now is from our observatory of cases from around Europe, some of the processes that can either be, so to say, more top-down and more bottom-up in having community-based regeneration, especially, for example, in the cases of heritage. So one of the cases is, again, from Italy, as we have also the colleagues from Prato, there's been a lot of work in trying to develop strategies for urban regeneration with local communities. And in the case, this is a beautiful library, public library of the city of Bologna, which is also the urban center. So this means that it is the city center with citizens in a public space have the opportunity of also discussing and getting to know what are the policies for the transformation of the cities. And very interestingly, what was developed by the city of Bologna together with the region of Emilia-Romagna, which is the region of reference of the city of Bologna, is to develop the so-called incredible, playing with the game of Credible Bologna, to create startup grants for creative industries in the city of Bologna, which would work also with a very strong social role. And so here we see the funding was managed by the city of Bologna together with the region, operating in the whole of the region, as we see, with a very important role also of the cases in the city of Bologna. So very quickly here we see, for example, some very beautiful semi-underground spaces, galleries next to the train station that have been abandoned for a very, very long time and have turned into a velo station, so a bicycle station where you can rent, adjust, fix your bikes, but also have the opportunity of also connecting with a series, for example, of sustainable mobility and sustainable tourism mechanisms within the city of Bologna. And this is a startup. Well, now not so much startup any longer, which is hiring many, many people. Here we see, for example, the Mercato Sonato. In Italian, it has a fantastic game of words that is where there's music, but it also that they're a bit crazy because the market was regenerated through an association of musicians that use the market as a space for having music rehearsal, cultural activities in a neighborhood that is a very sort of peripheral neighborhood in the city of Bologna. And the same thing goes with the abandoned greenhouses of the city of Bologna that were taken over by this group of Kilowatt, which are creative industry that regenerated the space by creating, for example, community garden, but also a kitchen with biofood and many social and cultural activities in the neighborhood. And last, but also these are the role of the public policies of how they can activate very, very strongly the power in the citizens' engagement and how the public administration, just as the speakers before me have shown on behalf of the City Council, there is a fantastic opportunity in learnings is to integrate different ways of funding, space and skills. So the public administration becomes a platform to really cater for cultural and social entrepreneurship. And at the same time, we have to have city policies that engage the city beyond the political commitment. So it's fundamental to have politicians on board, but we have to make sure to have the administration so that projects and strategies and policies will go on also after the possible changes in local elections. And I would like to pass on to my colleague Levente, who will be showing instead a more bottom-up cases coming from the city of Bratislava. And here, as the slides might be also available, you see also links that we have in our magazine, Cooperative City, where you can access interviews and articles on the cases we've been talking about so that you can also get into more details in English.
Yeah, thank you, Daniela. I took over. I hope you can see my screen now. So building a little bit on what Daniela was explaining, and also what you actually, many of you mentioned about the importance of public-civic collaboration, I would like to show you one example from another region in Bratislava, an initiative that we've been working together a lot, and I think which is quite illustrative about how initiative can come from the bottom up and can be embraced by city administration. So we talk about the old market hall in the middle of Bratislava. It's in the very center, and it's a building as we reconstructed in this timeline. It's a 100-year-old building that was changing functions many times. It became a TV studio in the 60s, then hosted different kind of cultural productions. And then in 2008, it went empty, and it was for years empty. And even before, it was run with a deficit. So there was a situation with an asset of the municipality that seemed to be a hopeless case until an alliance of NGOs, a variety of young people who had different experiences. Some of them had experiences in running markets, others were in financial experts, others were architects, others actually had a bit of expertise in the nightlife and organizing communities around spaces. So they came together and created this NGO, the Old Market Hall Alliance, which faced this situation of this challenge of how to rethink a quite unique space in the middle of the city, a space that is actually, there's only one of this kind in Bratislava. So what they came out with, and this was actually a very strong proposal to the city, that they brought on the table their diverse competencies, but also they proposed a financial form or an arrangement that allowed the gradual renovation of the building. So they pay €1 per month as a symbolic rental fee to the municipality, but they are obliged to invest €10,000 every month into the building. So this allows, and also as it's an NGO, so there's no way to take profit out. This model guarantees that all the values, all the money actually created on the side of the NGO is reinvested into the building. This is a very successful model because they managed to mobilize a lot of communities around the space. They realized that this will be a very attractive venue for corporate events. So they rent out the space every now and then for commercial events in order to cross-finance non-profit events, which otherwise could never have access to such a space, and also to enable the weekly food market. So in a way, also bringing ahead the tradition of the building and making it successful in a way that the municipality itself was not capable of. And again, bringing a diversity of functions and services into the market hall, including breweries, including a soda manufacturer, which also is connected with the past of the building, because 100 years ago, there was another soda manufacturer, experimental kitchens and all kinds of classes, and also a strong connection with the neighborhood. If I'm correct, nowadays they've been working on a circular economy model to actually collect waste in the neighborhood from the neighboring restaurants and cafes, because they started their own composting facilities in the building. So it's actually very strong links with all the neighborhood material and immaterial flows in the area. And just to close, I think it's quite important that this was a model, what we called as a rent to investment scheme, that was taken over by many other spaces in Slovakia and also in many other places, in Czech Republic, in Hungary, because the protagonists of the strategy itself, the Old Market Hall, were actually very good in formulating this model and also sharing this contractual arrangement and forms with other initiatives. And just a little bit of where can you find a bit more information of this if you like. This is us shooting a movie about the Market Hall 2 years ago, and you can find on our project page, Open Heritage, this 8-minute long video about the Stara Tujica, and also we have published a series of books which also talk about these kinds of initiatives that you can find for free on cooperativecity.org. So I would like to thank you. I think we stayed almost in time, and I will be around for any questions if you like. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniela and Levente. Thank you very much. You are just in time. Perfect. Perfect in time. Thank you very much, all of you. I will express my gratitude. We are a little bit out of time now. In name of the FAT, Foment d'Arts Decoratives from Catalonia, but in myself, I will express my gratitude to participate in this panel. I think the best thing of rehabilitation and renewal, it's how big can be all the examples that you can see, from little to large, from the village to big city halls, big cities, governments, organization, intergovernmentals, but also regions. Everybody it's thinking on to renew the old city and make new things in these areas that we need to refurbish. Thank you all. We will see you next season. For us, you know, here in Catalonia, in Spain, now it's the last day to work. In August, everything is closed, like in Italy. I think so, no, Daniela? A little bit the same in Italy. Today, it's our last day of working, and we will see you in September or October or November. Thank you for participating in this panel, and see you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.